Okay, with the idea being that in terms of radians, you're not adding and subtracting multiples of 360, you're adding and subtracting multiples of 2 pi. And so if I was setting this up, the way that I would look at this is the following. I would start with my number. Okay, I know I need a negative number, but this is already below where I need to be. So I need to add multiples of 2 pi to this. And what I would do is I would think of these in terms of the same fraction that I started with. So 2 pi is how many 36? 72. So what I'm going to do, or as I start to look at this, is I'm going to take my number, negative 251, and I'm going to keep adding 72 to it until I get a number that is somewhere between negative 2 pi and 0. So negative 72 pi and 0. So this is still not negative 72. Again, all I'm looking at here are my coefficient or my multipliers in front of pi. So I'm going to add another 72. It's still not there, so I add another 72. And now I have a number that is between what I was expecting, right? Negative 2 pi is negative 72 pi. It's right here. So I have my answer, negative 35 pi over 36. And that would be my solution. Now, I could also, using my T99, I could write my whole value, negative 251 pi divided by 36. And if I hit enter just to get my fraction form, I can now start to add 2 pi. And I see it continues to work, or continues to move through. Oops. So I can add another 2 pi, add another 2 pi. Again, notice, to me, just working with, and I get my same answer, negative 35 pi over 36, I finally get to that form. Okay, so being familiar with what fractions you need it to fall between is going to help. But if you just work with the numerator and just work with the rational form, it should be easier to work through. Okay, let's look at the second one, taking a number again, finding a positive coterminal angle. Okay, so here, if I let's actually go to this one down here. So we want to find a positive coterminal angle beginning with these. So if I start with negative 641 pi over 90, and I know I need to add because I need to get a number between 0 and 2 pi. Well, in terms of 90ths, what is my 2 pi? 180 pi. So what I'm going to look for is I'm going to start with my calculator. I'm going to take negative 641, and I'm going to add multiples of 180 until I get somewhere between 0 and 180 as my answer. Again, I'm working on just the numerators here. So my first time through, I get negative 461, so I need to keep going, plus another 180. I need to keep going, plus another 180. I know I need to go one more beyond this. I add one more 180, and that gives me 79. So by combining all of those, I get 79, and I'm going to use pi over 90 to complete my fraction, and that's going to be my coterminal angle. That'll end at have the same initial and terminal side as this given angle in terms of radians. Okay. All right, so again, here you're just adding or subtracting multiples of 2 pi in whatever the fractional form is of the given angle. Okay, I want you to try these remaining two problems here, please. This first example, we want to find a negative, so we're going to subtract. We're using fractions with a denominator of 180. 2 pi is 360 pi over 180. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find multiples of that. So 1669 minus 360, I can keep going until I get my negative number that falls somewhere between negative 360 and 0. So I can keep moving. Again, I could have multiplied by that knowing that I'm going to have a few. But here I see my next one will give me a negative number from negative 360 to 0. And so my answer is negative 131. And just carry along my pi over 180. And that would be my coterminal angle. Okay. So So here, find a positive coterminal angle. It needs to be a smaller number, though, so I'm going to subtract. My denominator is 36. Again, 2 pi is 72. Pi over 36. So I'm going to find multiples of this. That gives me a number between 0 and 72. Again, using that idea of just working with the numerator. So minus 72. Now, I know there's going to be a few of them. So I'm going to go ahead and just put times 3. Oops. Here, I wind up with 139. I need to keep going. It needs to be smaller than 72. So minus another 72 gives me 67. That fits. It's between 0 and 72 pi over 36. So my answer is going to be 67 pi over 36 for my solution.